Over the past 12 years of living abroad, I have understood how to navigate the process of applying to a university abroad, how to move to another country, and how to get ready to study abroad as an international student. In this video, I will share 12 years of my experience in less than 30 minutes on how to step by step get admission letter from a university abroad and move to another country as an international student. By the end of this video, you will know how to move abroad, how to prepare your documents for an international university, how to write your motivation letter to catch committee's eyes, how to find a supervisor who will be willing to supervise you during your studies if you are applying for PhD, in some cases master degree, how to write research proposal because it's a very important part if you're applying for PhD, how to get into the interview and successfully pass it, and what to consider before moving to another country. This video is long enough, so feel free to jump into any section you are interested in. Diving into the first question on how to move abroad. Of course, there are many ways how you can get into another country, including family reunion, work, internship, and studies. In this video, I will talk mostly on how to move abroad as an international student. First of all, it's very important to know that there are many opportunities and you can benefit from it. Of course, you can apply for a university abroad as a fee-paying student and fund your education, but if there are so many opportunities, why can't we use them? Talking about how you can find these opportunities and can benefit from them. Try to understand which major and level you want to apply for, including bachelor, master or PhD. After that, you have to prepare a list of the scholarships that can meet your requirements and you can meet their requirements. Where you can find the scholarship? There are many websites and groups where you can find these opportunities, and I constantly share some scholarships in my channel also, and in the description of this video I will share with you several websites that I was using and I'm still using to find international opportunities abroad. Please remember that in order to make a list of the scholarships, because our main goal is to find as many scholarships as possible, you have to start 1.5 years before actual study day. Why do we need that? In order to get into the university, you have to apply 1 year before. For example, if you want to get admission in September 2025, then it means that you start your application in September 2024 or October 2024. So therefore you have to dedicate half a year to find the scholarships that fit you and you fit their requirements. Therefore, you have to monitor and check the websites regularly. There are two types of the scholarships. Foundation that offer you this scholarship to study abroad. For example, Stipendium Hungaricum scholarship. There is a foundation, it's called Tempus Foundation, that provides the scholarship. So in this case, you don't have to apply for university separately. But there are another way that university is offering scholarship, and you have to apply separately for the university itself and for the scholarship itself. So it's a bit complicated process, therefore you have to read the requirements and the process of application of each scholarship very carefully to understand which way you have to take. Another thing that you have to remember, there are scholarships that are provided to specific citizens of specific countries. You can find an ideal scholarship and you will understand that your country is not in the list. Therefore, again, not to lose your time, you have to read the website of the scholarships very carefully and be 100% sure that your country is in the list. Talking about on how to prepare documents for any universities abroad. So you have to remember that there is a typical list of the documents that each university and scholarship can ask for. This includes your transcripts, your degrees. If you're applying for bachelor, it means that you have to provide diploma from high school, but if you're applying for master, you have to provide diploma from bachelor. If you're applying for PhD, it will include your high school, bachelor and master degrees, which is very important. The next important thing is your CV or resume. Notwithstanding any level of studies, you have to provide your CV. Even if you're applying for bachelor degree, you have to show what kind of activities you have done so far until you become 18. It can be volunteering, it can be any additional project at school, it can be any paid job you did. The next document is your passport or ID. As I have mentioned, scholarships can be specifically for specific countries, therefore you have to prove that you come from that country. Please remember that a foreign passport, even if it is in English, should be translated into the English language and notarized. You can find these translation offices in your country, I'm 100% sure, and after the translation you can also ask them to notarize it, and for additional fee they will do it for you. In most cases, when you're applying for a program abroad, you will choose the English language, of course, and if you didn't have program in the English language, you have to provide English proficiency test. Most universities in Europe are accepting IELTS, and some of them are accepting TOEFL. Please remember what is the difference between IELTS and TOEFL. It is the same test to show your level of English, but TOEFL is mostly for the United States and Canada, and IELTS is more widely used, I would say. So therefore, if you are not sure which country you want to apply for, I would recommend you to take IELTS exam rather than TOEFL, because the usage of TOEFL is quite limited as far as I know from my experience. Most important part in getting any kind of scholarship from university or any foundation is motivation letter. Motivation letter will introduce you and I would say sell you to the committee, to the university or foundation partners. Even if I am talking a lot about motivation letter, please remember that motivation letter shouldn't be more than one page. So therefore, it takes a lot of time to tailor a good motivation letter, to improve it. So take your time, like 5-6 months before actual date of the application, to prepare your motivation letter, to share it with your friends so they can give you feedback. Try to work on the spelling, try to work on the grammar. Talking about the part of the motivation letter, the first part is introduction, where you introduce yourself, who you are, what are you doing currently, and what are you interested in. The second part is why you are applying for this specific major or university. Here you have to do your research. You have to learn about the university, about the program, about these benefits. So trying to trying to make strong arguments why exactly this program, not any other program in another university. And when you show that you are interested in this program, you have to sell yourself. Okay, you have described the program. Now you have to show why you are a good student for this program, because the program was so good, the university was so good, right? Because this is what you will write. And you have to sell yourself, trying to connect your past, your future, and the current goal. I understand it can be a bit tricky, but for example, I will give you a very easy example so you can think about what you can write in your motivation letter while applying for scholarship. If you have been studying economics at your bachelor degree, then you want to apply for international relations, or I don't know, political science, or even psychology, right, in this specific university. What you can do, you have to say that you studied this specific major at this university, you learned this, that, or that. If you had a chance to work, of course, mention that you also have some work experience where you learned this specific skills or knowledge. And then you have to say that, okay, I know economics very well, but I feel that I'm more interested in political science, and I want to develop in that direction, but because of limitation of my knowledge, I can't develop further. So this program of yours, this university of yours, will for sure contribute to widening my knowledge on the subject, which I can use in my future goals. And here you start the second section of the motivation letter, writing about your future goals. So you had the experience as an economist or psychologist or whatever, you got the new knowledge or the same knowledge that was related to your specialization. And now what will you do with all this knowledge? then you have to show in your future plan. Now you know economics, you know psychology, and you will go to work for a non-profit organizations where you will be psychologists who also have a good background in economics and can do some administrative job at the same time. It sounds a lot of words that you have to fit into one page, but please remember that if you work on your motivation letter very carefully and for a long time, you will be able to fit all your thoughts in one page. It will be more than enough. The next document that you have to provide is research proposal. It's mainly needed when you're applying for PhD, and in some cases when you're applying for master degrees. You have to show that in these 4 years or in these 2 years of your studies, what you will do and how you will do it. How you can find topic on what you want to write about. It will depend, of course, on your major, but what I would recommend, in order to understand what topic you want to write on, you have to read a lot. You have to try to understand what is going on in the major and field that you are interested in. The best advice I could give you, that you have to narrow down your research as much as possible, because in most cases PhD is about super narrowed topic and narrowed field. So the more precise you are, the better it will be. Talking about how to write a research proposal, in most cases the universities will give you limitation on the words, how many words and how many pages it should be, but usually it's like 5-6 pages will be more than enough, where you have to divide again your research proposal in several parts. The first part is introduction, as usually, where you have to give the context and motivation. Why is it urgent to discuss this topic, to research this topic, and how can you prove that this topic is a good topic to research? The next thing you have to mention is research gap. What is missed nowadays in the literature that you want to fill, maybe not totally 100%, but 20% of it or 10% of it by your work. Of course, it's quite hard to find research gap in limited time, because you will have limited time to prepare a research proposal. That's why I'm telling you, read a lot, and you can use ChatGPT to find the ideas, to understand research gap and stuff. Of course, don't use ChatGPT or any AI tools to draft your research proposal, because in most cases nowadays universities and scholarship foundations have the access to the tools that can identify whether it is ChatGPT or any other AI tools. You have to write on methodology. What is methodology? Okay, it is methods you will use to answer to your research questions. You have specific research questions, for example, how can sleep deprivation affect your ability to work, and you have to present here how you will try to answer to these questions. It can be talking to the people in the street, it can be just the literature review you will do, and just all the documents that exist in this world on this topic. Of course, you will not be able to find all of them, but most of them, right? Or you will have some econometric models, or you will talk with a specialist. Try to think which method will be beneficial for this specific research proposal. Again, you can consult teachers at university. If you're applying for a PhD, I'm sure you did your bachelor and master, you can consult ChatGPT. Here you are again. You can consult your friends, and even some people, what they do, they find the people who are researching this topic in LinkedIn and contact them and ask what they think about this topic, and is it a good idea to have these specific methods to research this topic. And in the end, you have to provide timeline and your research plan, how many days, how many years it will take for you to write each section of your research proposal, and how will you do it, how much fundings you need. Of course, it will be very preliminary, because you will never know how it will go. Maybe you will finish in 3 years, or you will finish in 6 years, and I have seen very different experience. Therefore, just preliminary, try to explain your timeline and the steps you are going to take. If you are applying for PhD, there is another step that you have to take to find a supervisor who will agree to supervise you during these studies of yours. In most cases, it's only about PhD, but sometimes master degrees also should provide a name of supervisor or recommendation letter from a supervisor who is at the current university you're applying for. I'm describing things in the order that you have to take because you have to write your research proposal first and then contact your supervisor or future potential supervisor, because when you will be contacting the supervisor, you have to provide your CV. Do you remember the documents that I have mentioned, right? And you have to provide your research proposal. How you can find the supervisors? When you are sure that you want to apply for this specific scholarship, again, list that you have prepared, right? You go to the website of the university, try to find the professors. Nowadays, all the universities in the world have their websites, and they mention the professors and future supervisors that are currently accepting the students. So you have to understand that this supervisor should be also interested in the topic you are going to research. You can't find a professor who is a professor in psychologist and ask him to help you with political science. Therefore, try to understand your research interests and try to understand that this research interest of yours align with the research interest of the supervisor. When you find them, contact them. Again, you will find their email address in the university's website. Not then just Google them and you will find them in LinkedIn or any other platform. Here it's also time consuming and energy consuming because usually supervisors are super busy. Believe me, they are. They have a lot of things to do except teaching. They publish, they take part in conferences, they have administrative job. Therefore, not in all cases they will answer you and see your email. Therefore, to secure that someone will answer you, at least write 5 or 10 emails to different supervisors. Or if they answer you and say, I am not currently accepting any students, or I'm not interested so much in that research topic, what you can do, you can try to ask them if they can advise any other supervisor who is accepting and who is interested in this topic. Why you should do it? Because if a person is answering you, you have to use it. After the supervisor is found and he or she is ready to supervise you, they have to provide you a recommendation letter or a letter where they indicate that yes, I am this person and I agree to supervise this person who is applying for the specific program with specific scholarship. I have found myself 2 supervisors, but to find 2 supervisors, I have, I don't know, written maybe 15 or 20 of them. So not, as I've mentioned, not everyone will answer you. So get prepared for that. To support your application, you also have to provide some recommendation letters. If you are applying for bachelor degree, in most cases they will not ask for it, but I will recommend you to go for it anyway to find the people who will agree to give you the recommendation letter, because it will really enhance your application. In case of master degree and PhD, it's mandatory, and they will ask at least for 2 or 3 recommendation letters from your previous employer or your professors at school. The best thing to do is to get 1 recommendation letter from your current or previous employer and 1 of them from your previous or current professors. In this case, they will try to explain and show 2 sides of yours as a worker and as a student. So now what I was doing, I was just approaching my employers and previous supervisors and asking them to give me a recommendation letter explaining the situation that I'm applying for this or that program. And in terms of my professors, I was studying in another country, in Russia, but I was in Tajikistan when I started applying for PhD again. Therefore, I just contacted some of my professors who were at a university in Moscow, and I asked them about their motivation letter. And I was very surprised that all of them were so happy and glad to give me this motivation letter. Therefore, don't be afraid to contact your colleagues, your supervisors, your professors, and ask for the recommendation letter. I am sure they will be super happy to support you to reach your goals, academic or professional. When you send all the documents, find your supervisor, write your research proposal, motivation letter. In some of the cases, you will have to go through interview to get admission letter. Interview is not mandatory thing for all the scholarships. In some cases, you don't have to go through interview, but if you're applying for master and PhD, in most cases it will happen. What you have to do when you get the invitation to the interview, please review your motivation letter. You have to understand that an interview will happen usually May or April, and it is normal that you will forget what you have written in your motivation letter. Therefore, to refresh your mind, please review your motivation letter, see your application, what you have written, what you have added, right, and who you got the recommendation letters from, and what you wrote in your research proposal. Because interview, if you're applying for master and PhD, mostly it will be about your motivation and the research you're going to do. And I also recommend you to do your research on the university program and the scholarship, because there was some cases when I was a committee member, students are super motivated about their research proposal, about studying abroad, but they knew very little about program and university, and it seemed that they just want to move abroad. And maybe it is a case, but at least you have to be nice to prepare yourself that there will be questions on the university and program, why you chose this university, why you want to study exactly in this country or in this university, depending on the university and the scholarship foundation. Of course, interview will be approximately 15-30 minutes. They don't want to torture you more. From my point of view, they want to see how much you are real, according to the motivation letter and the documents that you have sent to them. And they just want to talk to you about your research proposal. It's a very important document if you're applying for PhD. Therefore, you have to be ready that there will be more questions for you as a PhD student about your research proposal. So maybe until then, you will have approximately 4 months to get ready more and in more details, study your research proposal and think maybe what else you could add. You could I don't know, improve it and enhance it. Of course, if you can't make it by the deadline, just submit the one that you worked on, but in the interview show that you were studying still about the research topic and you are thinking maybe these methods will be good and what they think about it. When I was applying for fully funded scholarship in Brunei, I had a different topic that I am currently actually studying and researching. The professor I had the interview was really nice. I think that out of 30 minutes, 20 minutes, only the professor was talking, explaining me on how I could improve my methodology and what I can do to improve the topic and the research in general. It was really interesting experience. But when I was applying for a university in Hungary, the situation was different. We had talked only 15 minutes, and most of the cases were about research proposal of mine. Now you got the admission for the university with scholarship. What you should do now, you have to get ready to move to another country, because a lot of things will change in your life and you have to get ready for that. Before you move to another country, what you should consider, first of all, even if you get fully funded scholarship and you will get paid every month, please remember that in the beginning, until you finish all the bureaucratic things, preparing the documents, applying for the residence permit, getting your documents in order, you will not get the scholarship. Usually 2-3 months, the first 2-3 months, you will not get your scholarship. So you have to have a specific amount of money for yourself to start your life in a new country. Depending on the country, the amount will be different, and of course it will depend whether you will get dormitory, whether you have to rent a flat, and etc. In my case, when I moved to Ankara for PhD, I remember that I had with myself $1,200 US dollars, and I was living in the dormitory, but still I didn't get my scholarship until I remember November. So I was spending from my own money, and I was getting a lot of things that I missed. Of course, I couldn't get everything I need in one piece of luggage that I had when I moved. And when I moved to Hungary, I had approximately 2,000 US dollars ready. And in Hungary, I didn't want to live in the dormitory, so I rented. And I remember that just to pay for the flat, the first month of the rent and 2 months of security payment, which is normal in Budapest, I paid approximately 900 US dollars. So and I didn't get my scholarship until November. Please be prepared and have some savings before moving. You have to accept that you will feel lonely and you will miss your parents, your home, your country, and everything. But believe me, after 2-3 months, it will be gone because, first of all, you will have a lot of things to do in the new country, including your studies, doing documents. I don't know, meeting new people and making new friends. But in the beginning, it will be a bit hard. And if you are super attached to your parents, you will cry from time to time, and it's normal, I think. I was doing the same. The younger you are, the more difficult it will be for you to move. If you like this content, I'm sure you will like this video of mine where I talk about how is it to live in Hungary, cost of living, the people, culture, and studies. And see you in my next videos.